India and the European Union signed a historic free trade agreement, which many, including EU chief Ursula von der Leyen, have described as the mother of all deals. But what is the deal about? How will it benefit the Indian industry? Will it come into effect immediately? What are some of the hurdles, misconceptions about the deal? Union Minister Piyush Goyal took to X and shared a comprehensive document on the FAQs of the India-EU trade deal. Here's a quick look. The deal is a game changer for Indian exporters as the agreement opens the doors wide for Indian goods in Europe, with almost all of our exports enjoying lower or zero tariffs, helping make India more competitive globally. Now, EU has promised to remove duties completely on a huge portion of Indian goods right away. Specifically, on about 70% of the product categories or tariff lines, they're eliminating tariffs immediately, and these cover nearly 91% of the value of what India currently exports to the EU. That's massive because almost 91% of our export value gets zero duty from day one. Now, do Indian farmers benefit from the India-EU FTA? Indian farmers are expected to benefit significantly from the preferential market access to the European Union for key agricultural exports like tea, coffee, spices, grapes, cucumbers, dried onion, fresh fruits, vegetables, and sheep, lamb, meat, which is expected to boost competitiveness, export volumes, realized income, and rural livelihoods. While sensitive sectors like dairy, poultry, beef, cereals, rice, wheat, edible oils, certain fruits, vegetables, nuts, and tobacco are fully protected with no concessions given. Will the entry of European products in India hurt domestic industry? Well, the India-EU FTA's bilateral safeguard mechanism is actually a built-in protection tool that lets India or the EU step in case the tariff cuts under the deal cause a sudden surge in imports that seriously harm or threaten to harm a domestic industry. In such cases, India can temporarily raise duties back to its standard MFN, that is most favored nation levels, on the affected goods following a proper investigation and a procedure. Now, this measure starts for up to 2 years and can extend another 2 years after review, but that's maximum 4 years total, and it is available during the deal's 22-year transition period to give industries time to adjust while ensuring fair trade benefits without overwhelming local producers. What are the technical barriers to trade? TBTs. In simple words, TBTs are the differential standards for products in different regions. Now, in the India-EU deal, the technical barriers to trade covers the preparation, adoption, and application of standards, technical regulations, and conformity assessment procedures by central government bodies. Now, it is supposed to build on WTO rules, which is promoting key principles like transparency, non-discrimination, and the use of international standards. This sets up a practical tool to tackle issues. Now, there is also a mechanism, an inbuilt mechanism for early technical discussion so problems can be sorted out quickly before they escalate further. And yes, the entire TBT chapter is enforceable. It's fully subject to the trade deal's dispute settlement process, giving both India as well as the European Union real teeth to ensure commitments and that are honored and barriers that are minimized for mutual benefit. India-EU FTA's intellectual property mechanism. What's the intellectual property mechanism? Let's talk about the IPR in the India-EU trade deal. Now, this directly creates a clear, unified framework to protect and enforce IP rights, with the main goals to encourage more investment in innovation, support creative and knowledge-based industries, crack down harder on piracy and counterfeiting, and make it easier to share information, knowledge, and technology between the two sides. The provisions fully reaffirm and build on the WTO's TRIPS agreement, that's the global standard, and they counter important areas like copyright, trademarks, geographical indicators, think like Darjeeling tea or basmati rice, industrial designs, trade secrets, undisclosed information, plant variety protection, plus stronger border measures and enforcement mechanisms to stop fake goods at the border. Now, they are protected for Indian manufacturers as they venture into European Union under the FTA framework. Will the FTA be implemented immediately? That's a major question because the India-EU trade deal will enter into force on the first day of the second month after both sides exchange written notifications confirming that they have completed their internal legal procedures or on any other day that they mutually agree. Now, once in force, the agreement has no fixed end date as such. It lasts indefinitely. Either India or the EU can terminate the FTA by giving written notice, with termination happening after the period mentioned in the deal. And yes, it can be amended. The two sides can make changes by mutual written agreement, and the joint committee can also update certain specific parts like rules or procedures or dispute settlement codes after completing their internal approvals. Now, it is expected that the deal would be implemented within a year after it undergoes the legal scrutiny as well as clearances from parliaments of both the regions. Meanwhile, Union Minister Piyush Goyal has given insights on the deal on the FAQs, and a quick document has in fact been posted on the government's official website, the Press Information Bureau.